Melanie Martinez is one of the most successful musical artists to come out of reality TV singing competition The Voice. So much so, you mightn't even realize or remember or care that that's how she came to fame. Her style and visual artistry is almost instantly recognizable, and in my opinion, she's got one of the most interesting styles in the business. I need a red light. Hi, I'm Tay. I'm a fashion designer and artist. Welcome to my channel. Today's video, we are going to be designing a mini capsule collection for Melanie Martinez. If you're new to my channel, first and foremost, you must subscribe or be doomed to have frequent nightmares where all of your teeth fall out. Avoid that and subscribe. And I really think we might be able to hit 100 subs before the end of summer, so help me out with that. But if you're a newer viewer, this might be your first time joining us for a design video. Basically, the process is person or theme mini history that will give us some keywords to use for the ideation phase, where we collect images to create a mood board, which will be the cornerstone of our design creation. And today's subject is Melanie Martinez. New York born and bred, Melanie had a fascination and love for music from a very young age, as many talented musicians do. She taught herself guitar and wrote poetry, but also really enjoyed photography and fashion, which I think is obvious when you look at her look as a whole. At 17 years of age, Melanie did a unique version of Britney Spears' song Toxic and auditioned for The Voice. Melanie's musical style was never singing belters and being conventionally good at singing. Not to say she isn't good at singing, but what I mean is that Melanie is a performer, and as a performer she's an entire package. She has an interesting voice, a unique style, and it matters to her things like stage and set design because it's part of the show. While Melanie was eliminated after making it to the top 6 of the show, I honestly think that was probably a better path for her, as her music to me isn't mainstream, it's more alternative. Plus, being eliminated from the show didn't stop her success in the slightest. She has released album upon album of real art, storytelling musically and visually. She sometimes pairs an album release with a movie, so she can incorporate the songs in a way that can also be perceived. I believe Melanie's art needs to be seen and heard. There's really 4 main style eras for Melanie, 5 if you count her time on The Voice, but as for curated image alongside her musical arts, she has 4 albums that have very distinct styles, and diehard fans are likely able to know exactly what album it is based on an outfit or an hairstyle. Let's look at each era really quick and talk about the vibes and aesthetics that were prevalent at those times. Crybaby, released in 2015, was Melanie's debut album and followed her alter ego character, Crybaby. The concept is seemingly that Melanie wanted to write and sing about very dark adult themes like heartbreak and dysfunctional family dynamics, while using childhood references and nursery rhyme inspired beats. Visually, Melanie's wardrobe and stage sets, along with music video styling, featured heavy references and inspiration from childhood and baby products like blocks, bottles, toys, and dolls. Wardrobe-wise though, baby doll dresses, bows, lots of ruffles, and bibs. Now, quick mention here. Combining adult themes with baby stuff and childish inspirations is a very tight rope walk. On one hand, I understand the inspiration and want to create art with both of these topics combined. If you're someone who maybe had childhood trauma or want to represent the juxtaposition of scary and dark with playful and innocent, but these combinations will rarely come without critique, and they must be done in a way that's careful. I think playing with childlike inspiration for wardrobe can be fine. Like, I personally love a frilly sock and a bow in the hair, but maybe where it gets a little close to the line or might even step a toe over the line is introducing anything sexual at all in combination with those childlike inspirations. TLDR, probably don't twerk and talk about sex whilst dressed up as a little girl. And I'm thinking it goes without saying as to why that should be avoided. But wearing a baby doll shaped dress as an adult, I'm not sure that that is just inherently problematic on its own. Needless to say, Melanie's childish inspirations, of course, received backlash, and that's not something necessarily I'll dive too deep into for this video, as this is part of my I Design For series. But if you guys want a full fashion drama deep dive on this one, let me know and I'm happy to oblige. Anyways, album Crybaby in a nutshell was Melanie's debut, heavy visual inspirations from childlike objects and fashion with a dark twist, and the birth of her alter ego Crybaby, who continues into the next album, K-12, released in 2019. This album follows Crybaby into school and pulls apart heavy issues again, like body image and eating disorders, along with the educational system flaws. Each song is a spin on something school-related, with tracks being inspired by detention, teacher's pet, nurse's office, show and tell, the list goes on. Visually, since we're looking at the same alter ego character here, Crybaby, fashion themes are similar to the album Crybaby, but with more school uniform-inspired references in the outfits. Nothing but pastel for the color palettes, but unique silhouettes that are almost unsettling in a way. Melanie did an entire film for the music videos for this album, following Crybaby throughout a day at her school, giving us plenty of hairstyle and outfit changes to look at here. Portals was released in 2023 and came with the death and rebirth of Crybaby. This album tackles topics of past life regression therapy and visually represents the physical death of Crybaby, who is then reborn as a sort of fairy nymph alien creature. The album itself even starts with the song Death and ends with the song Womb. Melanie hung up the bows and bibs and donned pink webs and fins and prosthetics, 4 eyes, wings, outfits that were heavily inspired by nature with lots of texture and shapes, seemingly, at least to me, representing a forest with mushroom and moss growth. Melanie kept that prosthetic face on for the tour and any outings during the time of the album release, which actually sparked conspiracy theories that this Melanie was not the Melanie, but rather a body double, and possibly the real Melanie had died. Her team came out and said that she actually went through grueling hours and reapplied this face every single time that she was seen for a good few months during the album promo. I just want to insert here quickly, I'm not majorly familiar with Melanie Martinez pre this video, but I did listen to some songs from each album to get the vibes in preparation for our design challenge, and I might get dragged by Melanie stans here, but in my opinion, I think Portals might be the best album of the 4. But of course, feel free to disagree with me in the comments. And that brings us to this year. Album Hades, released 2026, explores and dissects real-life societal failures and brings a dystopian feel to the Melanie library. Melanie, for this album, is now character Circle, who apparently is a quote-unquote feral forest child and was pulled out of a cult and is calling out important issues inside of our reality. Each song points out an important problem that we have in modernity, such as severe body and beauty standards, the problem with billionaires existing in the same timeline as poverty and war death, religious control and institutional manipulation, mass violence, as well as the concerning reality of the internet and AI. Visually speaking, the outfits and styling for Melanie are a sharp contrast to prior looks and eras we have seen from her. Color palettes are much more muted and neutral leaning here. Even her hair is no longer the split dye of the past, really signifying the Crybaby and that entire era of Melanie is no more. I've seen clips from album release shows that give a sort of industrial horror vibe, and there's even a 32-page storybook that came out in tangent to the album, which is entirely black and grey, or I guess more like black and beige, illustrations that tell the story of Circle. Now we have a wee bit of history on Melanie's visuals and fashion, it's time to think about how we're going to tackle the design challenge for this video. Normally I just dive in and think of keywords based on our subject, event, or person, and then hit ideation, but I think for this video, doing something a wee bit different will be fun. I'm gonna sort of do a blind pick challenge where I have different categories and options that I blindly pick from using a random picker site and design the capsule collection based on that. Since we have 4 Melanie eras, I think blind picking one of those is a good start. So we have Crybaby, K-12, Portals, Hades. This will be the Melanie that we are designing for, the tour or the show or the whatever. And we got K-12. Now we need to blind pick for the event or garment category. Basically, where will she be wearing these pieces? We have stage wear, red carpet, bridal, or lingerie. We got stage wear, and finally a bit of a curveball to add some extra challenge to our challenge with a side of challenge. Let's throw some elements in that must be included, so a texture or a detail that has to be in these pieces somewhere, and I'll take something from each era and throw it in here. So we have bows, ruffles, black ink splatters, or a nature element, something like mushrooms, florals, trees, whatever. Nature element, great. So we have a K-12 inspired stagewear look with a nature element that we have to design for. Let's hit ideation. If this is your first time joining us for a design process video, freaking subscribe first off. But also, you might not be as familiar with this step as returning viewers. Here in this space, we're going to collect as many visuals and fall down as many visual rabbit holes as we can, or as feels right, and put together a mood board which will be our jumping off point for the design portion. I say this a lot, Pinterest typically isn't the recommended place to go for things like this. Crediting original sources of images on Pinterest can be a challenge, and if you're working on a serious project for a client or for school, you typically need to be able to cite your pictures. Additionally, if you're avoiding AI images, which I still try to do in this hellscape, Pinterest makes that way harder. I like to think I can spot an AI image from a mile off, but I always say as well, if one slips in, call me out in the comments immediately. I'm grabbing images from the K-12 film itself, as well as some from Melanie's actual stage performances during this album. This sort of puts me down a visual hole of pastel academia aesthetic and coquette academia aesthetic. Difficult as always to try and find images that aren't AI generated. Since I know we are including a nature element as well, I'll be sure to grab little bits that have that included from the K-12 era too. Take a shot every time I say era. Images at the ready, blank canvas ready to receive us. Let's begin our assembly. No pun intended there, but I am who I am. I love this step, arranging the images we collected and starting to see a through line and getting wee ideas pop into the dome already. Even though I pretty much exclusively wear black, I do love a pastel color scheme. And I think it goes without saying that that is likely where we will end up with this collection, but these soft and delicate colors make me happy, honestly. I'm excited to design something in this palette. I was trying to be careful and not grab too many Melanie images for this, even though she is the subject, because when creating a mood board for design, or I guess specifically fashion design, I don't like to have a lot of fashion imagery or pictures of clothing in the mood board because it like blocks the creativity of design for me personally. I prefer to just have vibes and textures and shapes. And here is our final mood board with color palette. Let's see what happens during preliminary sketches for our design segment. If you've been here before, you know what it is with this step. But if you're a newer viewer, our preliminary sketches are where we just roughly get down any and all ideas that we have had pop in our minds during the ideation phase and mood boarding. Sketching out silhouettes and details that we might like to see in the final pieces. I'm actually sort of struggling, or I guess like trying really hard to avoid any of these pieces just looking like something that she's already worn, but also balance it looking like something she would have worn during this time. Retroactively designing like this can be fun, but it is a wee bit of a challenge. Part of me was hoping for the blind pick to give me the newer album since there's less imagery out there of outfits, but like I say and always say, it's a challenge for a reason, and it's just gonna push me to create something that matches but is also unique in its own way. I did more than expected in ways of preliminary sketches, and honestly I could have continued further, but here are our final pieces. A 4-piece mini capsule collection inspired by Melanie Martinez in her K-12 era, with an inclusion of earth details somewhere on each. Let's go through each one by one. Piece 1 is a 2-piece blouse and dress. Blouse is a blush pink glitter mesh tulle with high neck and massive puff sleeves. Arm cuff of the blouse is in a purple plaid combed Pima cotton with a double layer pleated polyester chiffon lace trim and a purple bow at the neck. Dress is a purple plaid combed Pima cotton with pink double layer pleated polyester chiffon lace trim. Along that hem of the dress, which is sort of a school uniform type shaped apron style of dress, is 3D flowers. Piece 2 is a lavender purple nylon blend sequin stretch spandex mesh knit bodysuit with massive triple tier puff sleeves in a purple silk chiffon. Neck collar and bow are in a pink matte satin peekaboo back. Front has a heart-shaped cutout with the pink double layer pleated polyester chiffon lace trim. Back has a matching heart-shaped cutout, but it's filled with pink 3D flowers to match the edge along the bottom of the bodysuit. Piece 3 is a matching 2-piece set in a light blue plaid cotton. Top is a gathered crop top with massive off-the-shoulder puff sleeves that gather into a waterfall sleeve. Trim on the sleeves are covered in a pale blue 3D flower. Matching collar is a separate piece with a pink matte satin neck bow. Skirt is a double-tier layered skirt in the same blue plaid with a powder blue 3D ruffle trim beneath to add a wee bit of body. Scattered bows throughout the skirt match the neck bow in that pink matte satin. Piece 4 is another 2-piece set and the most theatrical of all, as you can see. Top is a bralette covered in our pink 3D flowers and massive puff off the shoulder sleeves in a blush glitter mesh tulle. Matching bloomers in the same mesh material, would need a soft lining as well, of course. Trim on the shorts is that double layer pleated polyester chiffon ruffle. The tree, obviously since we are designing for stage wear, we need to go extra, has the same blue and pink 3D flowers we've been using throughout, and a wee swing to tie to our theme of K-12. And that is all 4 pieces in our mini stage wear capsule collection for Melanie Martinez K-12 era. Last time I'm saying era, I promise. What do you think? I actually had so much fun doing this one. For a second there, I was a wee bit worried, like during my preliminary sketches, but I'm really happy with what we've come up with here. I really like the light blue plaid set, personally, but I think I'd like to see her in any of these, or I think I could see her in any of these at that time. Let me know what you think, of course, or if you've spotted a preliminary sketch you want me to expand on and fully render, I can maybe put together a short or a TikTok with that for you. And since you brought it up, you should follow me over on TikTok as well, since we're talking about it and you insist. Now, my channel is quite new and I'm grinding to get 2 videos out per week. So far, it's been mainly the I Design For series, the Villain series, and I did manage to slip a sort of fashion education video in there along with a sewing vlog. But I want to also get some I Design merch collection videos out. For example, I Design merch for Vanilla Mace, which was my first upload. But if you're watching and you've made it this far, you're early and you can have a say on what you'd like to see. I have a long list of videos that I want to do, but obviously with you in the comments saying like, hey, do this person, it's more likely that I'll do that person because there's not many of you here, so I'll see it. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Happy Friday. If you did enjoy it, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hope you have a lovely rest of your day. See you in the next one. Bye.